Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa nafa'ana ta'niyan tazakkar wa tazkira nafa'al intifa' wa al-istifada wal hasanatu wa tazkir bi kitabillah sunnati rasulih wa du'a ilal huda wa dalati ilal khair ibtigha wajhillah wa tatihi wa akhrabihi wa sahbihi amin Allahumma amin. Alhamdulillah, here we are again on the book, reading the book Ma'arij al-Quds Fi Madarij Ma'rifat al-Nafs, and the session is led by our beloved Ustaz Syed Muhiyuddin Al-Attas, all the way from Tarim. And wassalam to everyone. So inshallah, we're going to continue from page 10 in the English book, section B, on the source of actions.
Before that, do we have questions from the prior session?
Yes, we do have here.
We want to address. Okay.
Okay, there's a
Would you
question
read it
yesterday.
out?
Can do. There's a question yesterday from Brother Alif. Our treatment to nafs is to tame it, to be at war with it. What shall be our treatment of each soul? Yani vegetative, animal, and human soul. So I'm going to pass the mic session to you, Seth. Fadal mashkur.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Fatiha ila ruhi Sayyidina al-Imam Muhammad al-Ghazali وصوله وفروعه وذوي الحقوق عليهم أجمعين بأن الله يتغشاهم بالرحمة والمغفرة ويعلي درجاتهم في الجنة وينفعنا بأسرارهم وأنوارهم وعلومهم ونفحاتهم في الدين والدنيا والآخرة وأن الله ينور قلوبنا ويصفي أرواحنا وأن الله يرزقنا العافية في ديننا ودنيانا على هذه النية ولكل نية صالحة وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بسر الفاتحة. الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين صراط المستقيم صراط الذين. Yes, so the brother, the question by Brother Alif about the adab towards the respective souls. Yes, the nafs, as Imam al-Ghazali began in the first chapter, is used to refer to things, i.e. it is one of those ishtirak, al-ism, it is a homonym, it is a term that is shared by two realities, i.e. one of them refers to the blameworthy aspect of man, i.e. Deriving from his animalistic aspects. And then the other meaning of the term nafs refers to the very self of a thing. So the prophetic statements wherein the Prophet said that we have to jahid nafsa, that we are to, let us say, struggle against ourselves, or he likens it, yes, to a warfare. When the Sahaba returns from a war, and he said, you return from a struggle to another struggle, al-jihadul akbar, and that is jihad against the nafs, i.e. the inappropriate, yes, the inappropriate desires towards the dunya, the inappropriate lusts that needs to be controlled, including the waswasah, i.e. the whisperings, including, of course, the, let us say, prejudices and biases that a person may have, bad opinions that he has of another person. So basically, the process of taming it, struggling against it, yes, is basically with the intention of returning to a state before we are made existent in this world, i.e. the state of pure consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and understanding this world for what it is. So he asks about the adab to the vegetative, animalistic aspect of the body. Well, this is now a new discourse, basically, that Imam al-Ghazali has introduced. Remember, when he speaks about the nafsul nabatah, or ruh al-nabati, and ruh al-hayawani, and then ruh al-insani, or nafsul natiqah. Now, these three, it's a philosophical transposition of the discourse. And remember then, when he discusses these things, that he speaks about the meaning of soul, yes, when philosophically transposed, does not have the same meaning as it means within the let us say within the Islamic metaphysical discourse, as we have mentioned previously, i.e. there's some subtle differences. When he speaks about the vegetative soul in man, we are not conscious, yes, of the vegetative aspects of ourselves, i.e., I mean, a great portion of it, yes, like when we speak about reproduction, and when we speak about nutrition, and we speak about growth, yes, as what is called the nafsul nabati, the vegetative soul. Yes, he means by soul here only that which is distinguished from the rest of characteristics of subsistent things as bodies. So he says that this within the chapter of trying to establish the existence of the soul, yes, particularly the intellectual soul. Yes, so he says that of the things which are observable, yes, in the realm of existence, you have bodies, as we said yesterday, and bodies are distinguished by their character of possessing the interdimensionality, or the three dimensions, yes, breadth, width, and depth, yes. But amongst all existing things, such as bodies, there are amongst them that possesses movements of a particular limitation, yes, and this includes reproduction, growth, as tawallud, yes, an-numuwa, and also nutrition, al-ghidaiya. So these three are belonging to the vegetative substance, so or spirit. So this occurs across the plant kingdom. And then, of course, there are beings that possess the vegetative spirit, although perhaps not within a similar biological structure, yes, with some important differences. For example, if trees have roots and stems, animals, despite possessing the vegetative soul, so to speak, yes, run a different system, although the same attributes inhere within them. And then they have, in addition to that, the quwwatul muharrika, yes, as well as quwwatul mudrika, perception, as well as movement. And then you have now amongst the class of the animal kingdom, there is a being that is distinguished from all, in which Prophet Attas, in more recent writings, at least since On Justice and the Nature of Man, argues for this as the basis of a fourth kingdom, i.e. the kingdom of man, being a special creation, since man possesses the vegetative, the animal, animalistic soul, but also over and above that, a rational soul, in which the rational soul is distinguished from merely the animal spirit, in that the rational soul possesses, first Imam al-Ghazali asserts, amal ikhtiyari, yes, rational deliberation. Yes, rational deliberation to decide against one's initial instincts, for example. And then there are some other complex operations at work, including imagination, al-khayaliyah, and including consciousness, yes, apprehension, and then that is attributed to the species, the animal species, because the specific characteristic of man's consciousness is that he can be consciousness, and so on ad infinitum. Yes, you can continue along the human soul. But the human soul, as we know, is an immaterial aspect, yes, an immaterial aspect of a totality that includes, yes, the vegetative as well as the animalistic spirit, and they mutually influence each other, in that, for example, it is through the functioning of the biological organs, yes, the functioning of the biological organs involving itself in the vegetative as well as the animalistic activities, that the soul, which is the seat of apprehension and consciousness, can experience things such as hunger, yes, and pain, yes, as well as, let us say, experience the discomfort, yes, of changes within your biology, like excessive sweating, changes in heat, and changes in the temperature, and so on and so forth. All of these things suggest to us that we are ensouled as well as embodied, yes, ensouled as well as embodied, that we can have feats of intellection and as well as self-introspection to the extent that we can forget ourselves as embodied beings. And likewise, we can be in the heat of a very bodily experience until we forget that we are souls, yes. A man can self-identify with his stomach, for example, yes, at the height of a gastronomical pleasure, for example, and so on. So therefore, if we understand this properly, that man is both body and soul, and that that he has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an aspect of himself that is involved with the governance of the body, including the preservation of the amanah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then with regards to the body, the adab is a diet, yes. Not in the modern understanding of the term diet, i.e. that you would decrease your consumption of food, although sometimes that is what is its entailment, but in the general sense, i.e. in the sense of discipline, that you are to observe what you consume so that it doesn't lead to your destruction. And the Quran gives general references to this. وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Do not cause your own destruction with your hands. Of course, the outward meaning of the verse refers to refusal to give infaq and sadaqah or zakah, yes, i.e. refusal to give away portions of your wealth, which will lead to your own destruction. But the meaning is umum, yes, the meaning is general, that we are, yes, to the best of our knowledge, yes, we are not to lead towards the destruction of ourselves, yes. Wallahu a'lam. Let us then continue with today's session, if it's all right.
Bismillah, inshallah can. So like I mentioned just now, we're gonna continue from Christian.
I think we have already mentioned that, although it's not read, but the content has been discussed. So can we just proceed to page 13, chapter 3?
So yes, Bismillah.
قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Chapter 3. Prove that the soul is a substance. Proven from the standpoint of divine law and reason. First, as for the divine law, all its declaration indicate that the soul has substance. In the same way, the punishment after death mentioned in the divine law indicate that the soul is substance. For pain, even though it dwells in the body, is on account of the soul. Then the soul has another punishment which is peculiar to it, such as shame, grief, and the pain of separation. Similarly, it has something which indicates its immortality, as we shall show later on, if God wills. Second, as to the proof by reason, akal, it has two aspects: a general aspect that can be proved by everyone, and a specific aspect that can be understood by religious experts, Ahlul Khusus and the righteous, Ahlul Insaf. As to the first, one should know that the real nature of man does not mean his body only. For one is a man if he is substance and has extension in dimension that require length, width, and depth, and if together with that he has a soul, and if his soul is a soul by means of which he gets nourishment, has sensation, and moves at will, and yet he is such that he can comprehend the intelligible and learn crafts, which he can practice if there is no hindrance from outside, but not from the standpoint of his human nature insaniya. If all these factors coincide, there results from the whole one entity, which is essential man, that al-insan. Therefore, it is proof by this that the real nature of man is not an accident, for accidents may change, while reality itself remains unchanged. For indeed, realities do not change. So then, that which is unchanged in you since you came into existence is your soul, while things that come on you and pass away are accidents. Second, the second aspect, the specific proof, is of use for the man for quick comprehension, fine understanding, and right judgment. That is to say, if you are in sound condition, free from defects, and clear from the assaults of passion and other misfortunes and defects, so that your members and organs do not affect and interfere with one another. And if you are in a suitable, i.e. temperate atmosphere, in such a condition, you are not heedless of your essential being, niya, and your real nature, even when you are asleep. So everyone who has quick comprehension, fine understanding, and discrimination knows that he is substance, that he is free from matter and its concomitants, and that his essential being that is not out of touch with himself. Since the meaning of intellection is the attainment of an abstract substance, mahiyah mujarradah, on the part of the intelligent being, akil, and since his essential being that is abstract to himself, so that he does not need to be made abstract and free from matter. We do not have here a material substance, mahiyah, and then an intellectual object, ma'kuliyah. Rather, his substance is itself the object of intelligence, ma'kuliyah. The object of his intelligence being his substance. This is an invaluable and important point which you will come to understand more clearly if God wills. The evidence of the validity of this specific proof is the fact that if it were not true that that which apprehended and perceived is your real nature, i.e. your soul, but were it your body with its accident, would be surely be either that which is perceived is all your body or some of it, but it cannot be the whole body. For man, in the above mentioned assumption may be heedless of the whole body when he apprehends himself. If that which is perceived is some of the body, it will be either eternal or internal. If it is external, it will be either external or internal. If it is external, it is apprehended by means of the senses, while the soul is not apprehended by means of external senses. And how can that be when we, in the above mentioned assumption, have regarded the senses as heedless of their actions and have assumed that the members do not affect each other? If the soul and the essential being are an internal member, such as the heart or brain, again, that is not permissible. For the internal members are attained only by means of dissection. It is proved therefore, that which apprehend is none of these things. For indeed, it may be that you do not apprehend them, while you are of necessity apprehending your soul. But what you are obliged to apprehend of necessity is never that which not be apprehended by means of sight. By this, it is proved that your essential being is not one of the kind of things which you apprehend by means of your external senses or what resembles them in any way. Shall I continue?
Okay. Now we can stop for a while, inshallah. Well, Imam al-Ghazali has certainly picked up his gears, yes, don't you think? Does anyone want to step, want to try it? What is it that he meant in the previous section that was read by Dr. Akmal? Well, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So the purpose of this chapter is, after having established the existence of the soul, after having established the existence of the soul, and just to repeat, what do we mean that Imam al-Ghazali has already established the existence of the soul? Remember previously he said that if the vegetative soul can be established upon the observation of plants, and the rational, which is indicated by language, of course, as indicated by the audible, visible expression, and the audible and visible expression basically indicates the unseen inner reality. Now, that unseen inner reality is the one that Imam al-Ghazali said is already established by our knowledge of ourselves. And then gradually, by analogy, our knowledge of our very selves, seeing that we are users of language, yes, establishes the existence of other minds, yes, other minds such as ourselves, in discussion and living in community with them, we come to know the existence of other minds. So existence is one thing. Now the second part about the soul, after having established its existence, is to determine whether it is a substance. And if it is a substance, we then want to know whether it is it a bodily substance, or is it jawhar mufarik? It is a separable substance from the body. So that is the purpose of this chapter, yes, to prove that the soul is a substance, yes. Now, first and foremost, yes, he said that the Shara assumes already the existence of the soul, since, yes, all its declarations indicates that the soul is substance. Yes, why? Because first and foremost, there are punishments that the Sharia promises and rewards, yes, for life after death, yes. And now these punishments indicate that the soul is a substance, i.e. that it possesses, that it is not an accident, yes, which basically changes in a person, yes. But the substance is that let us say an-niyah, that ipseity that remains, yes. So because pain, even though it dwells in the body, in the body, is on account of the soul. Yes, pain, even though it dwells in the body, is on account of the soul. In present-day biology, we understand, and the study of human anatomy today, we understand that there are sensory organs that allows for the transmission of pain, but there is ultimately a receiver. The one that receives and experiences this sense data as pain is none other than the soul. It is, of course, very intimately connected with the body. Yes, it is intimately connected with the body. It is conscious of the body, but it is also conscious of itself. And itself is other than the body. Yes, the reality of itself is other than the body. Then the soul has another type of punishment which is peculiar to it. Yes, just as we can experience bodily pain, yes, like the result of a blow or a strike, yes, the pangs of hunger. Now this is connected to the body, although the one experiencing is not other than the body. There is also other such experiences that is specific, yes, not to the body, yes. Such as shame, grief, yes, pain of separation. And the opposite of this is also true, i.e. experiences of joy, accomplishment, yes, indignation. All these experiences, the thrill of something, yes, the pleasure of the solution of an equation, the pleasure that a person derives from understanding a passage read, comprehension, all of these things denotes, yes, the existence of the soul. Some of which, and the experiences that I have enumerated here, yes, which of course, if we were to teach this as part of of a class, then we can, we can conduct exercises and list down certain of these experiences and try to determine amongst these experiences within a continuum whether or not they are more exclusively bodily or bodily derived, and you can arrange it to the point that some of these experiences become more and more spiritual, or become more and more let us say mental, and some others spiritual. Yes. So therefore, then we come to the subtle understanding that the one that is addressed, the one that experiences all of these things, is a substance in its own self. Right. Similarly, it has something which indicates its immortality, as we shall show later on if God wills. And what is it that indicates its immortality? And Imam al-Ghazali says indicative of its immortality. It is not necessarily conclusive unless we add to it another, i.e. intellection, proper syllogism and thinking. We can arrive at the conclusion that the soul is immortal. Yes. And how do we know that? Well, one possible argument that can be made is that the body, yes, the body that we inhabit experiences old age, experiences loss of power after having experienced a growth of power. Yes, in the face of youth, the body suffers, let us say, inability maybe to recall things as fast as it could compared to its let us say prime of youth and so on. But yet the soul, yes, the soul on the other hand is as it is today, as it was during your birth, and is as it will be as you grow. Yes. Because it is immaterial, because it is a substance. Yes, it is a substance separate from the body. Yes. As to the proof by reason, it has two aspects. First, a general aspect that can be proved with everyone, and a specific aspect that can be understood by ahlul khusus. Yes. As well as the ahlul insaf. The translation here is religious experts. It did not mean religious experts. The ahlul khusus could be a person specifically trained, yes, specifically trained with intellection, as a person specifically well disposed, yes, to rational speculation, yes, and well disposed to abstract thinking. Then they can understand it better. Yes. Also, it could mean, as for the ahlul insaf, it could mean a person that is that has managed to liberate himself, has managed to liberate himself from the trappings of the nafs. Now, as to the first, yes, the general proof that can be understood by everyone is that one should know that the real nature of man does not mean his body only. Yes. For one is a man if he is a substance and has extension in dimensions that require length, width, and depth, and if together with that, he has a soul. So, of course, yes, we are a substance, i.e. as a complete nafs, as a complete self. We have all that. Yes, the dimensional aspects. Yes, as a body and a soul. That's when we speak of man as a whole. Then over and on top of the body, he has a soul. And the soul, first and foremost, Imam al-Ghazali goes through again this process, yes, as part of his didactic approach, i.e. to teach us so that it is more understood now, as he already mentioned before. First, if he gets nourishment, sensation, and moves at will, and yet he's such that he can comprehend the intelligence. So he gets nourishment. So that's the vegetative. Sensation and moves at will, the animal. And then he is such that he can comprehend the intelligibles, i.e. Now the specifically human, as the rational, and learn crafts as part and parcel of his practical aspect of his rational faculty, which he can practice if there is no hindrance from outside, but not from the standpoint of his human nature, al-insaniya. If all these factors coincide, yes, we have put together, there results from this the whole one entity. Now, this is then the Dhatul Insan. When we say Insan as a whole, yes, containing both the Bashariyah and the Insaniyah aspect, the Bashariyah and the Ruhiyah aspect, now he is Insan as a whole, like that. Therefore, it is proved by this that the real nature of man is not an accident. For accidents may change, while reality itself remains unchanged. For indeed, realities do not change. So then, that which is unchanged in you since you came to existence is your soul, while things that come on you and pass away are accidents. What are the things that can that come on us and then pass away? Well, these are the different aspects of our body. Yes, the hair, our nails, and our teeth. Yes, all the rest of the organs. We can imagine. Yes, if we suffer some sort of unfortunate accident and we lose, yes, billah, parts of our limbs, we would still be subsisting. And that which subsists, that continues to exist, yes, is the soul. Yes, the soul aspect. Although the soul is still continuously attached to the body. As Professor Attas, I remember in one of his lectures, highlighted by means of an analogy. Why is it that we feel fatigue? Why is it that we feel more difficulty in old age to remember? Why we tend to forget? Well, it's like supposing the body, yes, of which is included the brain, of which some of these spiritual or rather intellectual apprehensions and results of intellectual apprehensions are stored as memory. Now, supposing some of these things are localized in parts of the brain, and the brain is understood to be an instrument, and the instrument is likened, let us say, to a knife. Yes, a knife fulfills its role very well. Yes, in the beginning, but over time, yes, it tends towards being blunt. And after it has been made blunt, then you can continue to sharpen it. Yes, by practice, you can continue to sharpen it. But the act of sharpening the knife, yes, using a whetstone, yes, tends to reduce, yes, it tends to reduce the substance of the knife until eventually there is nothing left of the knife. Yes, there is nothing left of the knife. So less and less is able to be accomplished within human life. But the soul remains as it is. Yes, the soul remains as it is, albeit now with lesser capacity to influence in the sensible realm. So indeed, realities do not change. Your soul does not change. It does gain knowledge. It does gain experience. It does gain by iktisab. Yes, amal. It does gain in the result of its intentions. It does gain knowledge. It does gain consciousness and awareness of counterparts. It gains, let us say, amal that has weight. Yes, it has weight that shall be weighted upon, that shall be placed upon the mizan in the Yawmul Qiyamah. But the soul remains the soul, like that. Yes. Now, so then that's how we know that the soul is a substance. Yes. Now, the second aspect, a specific proof, is of the use for the man of quick comprehension, fine understanding, and right judgment. Of course, he's saying this not to exclude any one of us. He's saying this in order that we pay more attention, yes, to this second part, having understood the first part. Yes. And if the first part has already been made difficult to us, it doesn't mean that we are hopeless. We just need to repeat reading it a number of times. Now, this specific proof, he said, is of use for the man of quick comprehension, fine understanding, and right judgment, because it's more subtle. Now, supposing he said, now this is now you are to indulge Imam al-Ghazali, yes, in his thought experiment. Supposing you are in sound condition, free from defects. Now, what we mean by in sound condition, i.e., let us say, free from illness, because you can experience this, that if you are, let us say, suffering from a headache, then you will experience, since your soul is tending towards the headache, it focuses the attention on a particular region of your body until you identify with the pain. Yes. But imagine a better day. Yes, a day in which you are in your sound condition, free from defects. Yes, and these defects includes, of course, as we said, something like a headache, or you're being troubled, yes, with your daily affairs, yes, being concerned about your financial situation, being concerned about your health, being concerned about your family, and so on. Imagine, yes, if you are able to do that, and then clear of the assaults of passions and other misfortunes and defects. So the assault of passions, including, of course, desire. If a person is love-struck, for example, it's very difficult to conduct this experiment. Yes, love-struck, in extreme hunger, poverty, all of these things that tends to affect your better judgment, and whatever the situation. So free then of the assault of passions, free yourself, yes, from all these things, and then other misfortunes and defects, so that your members and organs now do not affect and interfere with one another, i.e. your physical as well as internal organs. And if you are in a suitable, i.e. temperate atmosphere, meaning to say free from the extremes of temperature, yes, in such a condition, you are not heedless of your essential being and your real nature, even when you are asleep. Once you are free of this, and tasawwuf purportedly does this to you, yes, does this for you, i.e. in the stage of tazkiyah, in the stage of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, contemplating Allah, yes, who is the greatest of all possible beings, yes, being endowed with all perfection, then effusions of divine liberality descends upon you. Now in this state, you then are not heedless of your essential being and your real nature, even when you are asleep. That's how you come in touch, yes, with your soul. Yes, that's how you come in touch with your soul. Professor Zaini tells us, I think from Professor Attas, that you could also likewise experience yourself as an intellectual, as an intelligent. You can experience the intelligential aspect of yourself, free from your body, when you're indulging yourself in an intellectual activity. Supposing like you read an excellent novel, yes, an excellent novel, or you read a very elaborate and well described book, travel book, and so on. Yes, you imagine yourself, for example, reading one of the better Russian novels that describes, let us say, St. Petersburg very well, complete, yes, complete with the description of the historical period at stake, the kind of vehicles and the sound of steam, yes, that it makes, and other very, let us say, very powerful descriptions, whose words, yes, brings about the meaning such that it transposes you to that place. It is possible that in the midst of reading, you lose sensation of parts of your body. Perhaps you may lose sensation of your feet, yes, lose sensation of your hands, lose sensation, yes, of your stomach and the headache that may have been. Now, in that sense, you come to understand yourself as the soul. Yes, that's the substantial aspect of the soul. Yes. Now, and your real nature, even when you're asleep. So everyone who has quick comprehension, fine understanding, and discrimination knows that he is a substance. Yes, knows that he is a substance. And I think there are some good novels that can bring about this state. Of course, it's if you are of those whose mashrab, yes, amongst the Sufis, whose natural state is to attach yourself to the beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the Qasidah Burdah might do the trick already. Or the Qasaid of Imam Abdullah bin Alawi al-Haddad, yes, does the trick, yes, in terms of the spiritual sense. I mean, Allahu Akbar, of Al-Imam Al-Qutb Al-Anfas, Al-Habib Umar bin Abdul Rahman Al-Attas. It is said by none other than Imam Haddad himself that he found that Al-Qutb Al-Anfas, towards the end of his life, that he is nothing but, yes, Ruh wal Qalb. Yes, he is Ruh wal Qalb. He's just spirit. His pure spirit and his pure spiritual organ of cognition. Yes, happen to be, yes, it just so happens that he still, yes, resides in his body, in that he's still placed within the amana of his body, like that. But but being in his presence, hearing his speech, it is as if he's just spirit, yes, and qalb, yes. But you know, it is not wrong to enjoy sometimes, you know, the more mundane things, to get similar experiences from time to time. And then you may read something like a movable feast, I think by by Hemingway, yes, that tries to give descriptions of what it's like to taste an apple and so on. Nevertheless, well, so then that he is free from matter, yes, and its concomitants, and that his essential being is not out of touch with himself, since the meaning of intellection is the attainment of an abstract substance on the part of the intelligent being, and since his essential being is abstract to himself, so that he does not to be made abstract and freed from matter, i.e. you do not have to abstract yourself from matter to get a spiritual experience. Yes, we do not have here a material substance and then an intellectual object, but rather, yes, his substance is itself the object of his intelligence, i.e. you are now the object of your thinking, yes, the object of his intelligence being his substance. This is an invaluable and important point.